Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Trent. This is Rams Talk, final Super Bowl edition 53, or Super Bowl 53, Rams versus Patriots. This episode is going to go over and cover the Rams offense versus the Patriots defense. I've had two previous Super Bowl editions. One was Rams defense versus Pats offense, and one was just general news and notes and narratives and things. But I would like to thank everyone for tuning in and watching. The Super Bowl is tomorrow, and all the comments and feedback I've gotten from all of the subscribers and people who watched the previous videos have been great. I'm really just excited for all the Rams fans out there. I mean, the day is almost here. So for everyone that's just subscribed, we've had some newcomers come on board. Thank you very much for jumping on board. And if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? This is the time. This is the place. Jump on board. Be a part of the community. Contribute. Have a comment. Let me know what you think. Love to hear from everyone out there. And for all the Rams fans out there that have gone to Atlanta, I'm talking to you, and I'm going to support the team in Atlanta for the Super Bowl. Tip of the cap. Thanks for spending that hard-earned cash in Atlanta. You can also find me on Twitter at RealLARamsTalk. So yeah, I mean, I just want to start out by saying, before I dig into the analytics and the offense and this and that, but in the 2002 Super Bowl against the Patriots, after the Rams lost that game, they spent the next 15 seasons with one season with a winning record and one playoff win. So we really went down the tubes, so to speak, after that. So to me, this really would be a great full circle payback game. I mean, I never really got over the Patriots. I never really took a liking to the Patriots because of that. I mean, that's just natural. Whoever you lose to, you really aren't going to like them. And also this Super Bowl is the first in LA, or for LA, since 79, 80. So it's been about 40 years for the city of Los Angeles to have this feeling, a football team in the Super Bowl. I mean, I was like 3 or 4 when that happened, so I have no recollection. This is really my first time, and I think for a lot of people out there, their first time as well. All the old timers like my dad. This is it's been a long time coming. So I also feel like this Rams team is different from like previous teams in the Super Bowl. I know they all feel like, you know, every team every year they put a lot of effort into and preparation into getting to the Super Bowl, and they all form bonds. I feel, you know, and I guess I'd be biased, or it'd be uneducated to say like the Eagles didn't have the same feel that the Rams did, or the Falcons didn't have the same feel a couple of years before. But I feel like, considering some of the players on the Rams that have been through those dark times, I mean, just 5 years ago, we're talking about Sam Bradford coming back from his second ACL tear. Like, that's how close we are to the darkness. And so, you know, this team has Saffold and a bunch of guys, Brockers, who've been on those crappy teams, and for them to be in this situation is amazing. I mean, Andrew Whitworth, the guy played most of his career on the Bengals, and I mean, they really haven't been much better than the Rams in the last 15 years. So this is a sweet moment for him. And, you know, after all the adversity they've gone through this year, with the things that happened in LA, with the shooting at the Borderline Grill, with the fires and the evacuation, and, you know, everything culminating in that Monday Night Football game against the Chiefs, this team I think has bonded in a very unique way that most teams don't. You know, I feel like maybe the Patriots did during the marathon bombing. So, you know, like that, or that was more, I guess, the Red Sox were feeling that. But, you know, those are kind of things, off the field stuff that really brings the team together. And there was footage of Brocker saying after the win against the Saints that this is a brotherhood. And I really feel after that Saints game, the way the team battled was, and they've been battling all year, but I mean, that really, you know, they were down 13-0 in a hostile environment, and they played through all of that controversy at the end, hitting a 57-yard field goal. I mean, this team, there's something special here. Whereas the Patriots, I don't feel like there's something special to this team. I feel like obviously they've battled and they have a different team dynamic, but you know, this is like they're trying to manufacture, I guess, motivation, if you will. They're trying to say that they're underdogs because they don't really have it. They're playing good, they're playing well, but no one thinks of them as underdogs, and no one thinks that. I mean, I don't know about the adversity, but I just feel there's something special about this Rams team. And of course, I'm biased. I'm a Rams fan. But anyways, I wanted to just touch on that, and so now I'll get into the data and the stats. And just came out that Todd Gurley is 100%, which is great news, and he is my key to this game. Todd Gurley and the usage of Todd Gurley in one way, shape, or form will really be the deciding factor in this game. Now, the Rams won the NFC Championship game without Todd Gurley. And, I mean, they can still do it. It's still definitely possible. They did it under very extreme, tough conditions in New Orleans, but they can do it. So, you know, even if he gets marginalized, the Rams can still pull it out. But I feel like if you get Todd Gurley back to being involved and healthy and looking like Todd Gurley, that's massive. The offensive line has a lot to prove here as well. But here are some stats about Todd Gurley that, you know, kind of bode well for the Rams if he hits these numbers. So this year, whenever he gets 15 or more touches, the Rams are 11-0. So that means when he's involved running the ball, the Rams usually win the game. When he has 75 or more rushing yards, the Rams are 9-0. And when he has 125 plus scrimmage yards, the Rams are 7-0. So if he rushes for over 15 times, has over 75 rushing yards and 125 all-purpose yards, you could pretty much put this one in the bank that the Rams are going to win this game, because that means that they're eating up time of possession. That means, and he's a prolific touchdown scorer. And so that means, it leads me to believe that if he's racking up these numbers, then he's getting into the end zone as well. So keep an eye on those things. If they're able to use him effectively, then that'll happen. Now, what he is and how the Rams like to use him in 11 personnel typically is in an outside zone running scheme, and that is going to be between the guard and the tackle, or around the tackle, instead of between the guards and the center. That's more CJ Anderson's real estate. And the game against the Detroit Lions, Matt Patricia, who I expect Bill Belichick will have contacted or will have already been in contact with, can share notes on what the Lions did in the beginning of that game to neutralize Gurley, but then Gurley got free at the end of the game and kind of flipped it. He had over 100 and around 130 rushing yards, but they really loaded the outside part of the line and really kind of blocked those running lanes for him and forced him to the inside, and that's where the Rams are getting a little stymied. So I would expect that the Patriots would try and do more of that and try and contain Todd Gurley to the middle of the field. But also Todd Gurley is very effective on fly sweeps and screens and swings and different things like that. So just getting Todd Gurley involved in the passing game, and hopefully he holds on to them this time, but that will help kind of keep the defense on their toes. Because, you know, even though the Patriots might know what the Rams' tendencies are and the personnel groupings that they run, they still have to execute them. They still have to stop them. And there still might be wrinkles within those that they haven't seen. So it's a lot easier said than done, because a lot of people know what the Rams like to do, but you still have to stop them, because the Rams are skilled at every position. They're skilled at the offensive line. They're skilled at tight end. They're skilled at the skill position. So stopping what you know is coming is still hard to do. Also, if he's getting these touches, I assume CJ Anderson will get some reps as well. So if he's getting these touches and they're winning the time of possession, they're going to wear down the Patriots defense. And so between he and CJ, I really would like to see the time of possession, the handing off, getting those chunk plays, similar to the Cowboys. I mean, I don't think it's going to be 273 rushing yards, but I feel like if they can get 150 plus rushing yards between the two of them, that bodes well for the Rams. That puts the Rams in a very, very good position. Now, what the Patriots really like to do on defense, and what they've done a lot in the postseason, is blitz. They've been on a blitzkrieg. Look at that. And also, that's a way to neutralize the blitz, is to run the ball. So it'll be really interesting to see if the Patriots continue blitzing and stunting at such a high rate when the Rams are going to run the ball. In fact, here are some blitz numbers. So in the playoffs, they've blitzed 31% of the time on passing snaps. So I think there's 82 passing snaps between Kansas City and San Diego, and they blitzed on 26% of them, mainly with Dante Hightower and with Kyle Van Noy, their linebackers. And even though Dante Hightower, he'll line up on the line as like an edge rusher, but they also move him inside and move him around. Van Noy is typically coming from linebacker position, but they're going to really blitz and stunt with those two guys. So out of those 26 blitzes, they've accumulated 18 pressures, which is at a 69% rate. So they pretty much, on their blitzes, are pressuring almost at 70%, which is pretty good. I'm going to be referring to a lot of notes here, a lot of numbers, a lot of stats, so stay with me, please. So Hightower, out of the 118 snaps in the last two games, 57 of those he's rushed. So about half the time Dante Hightower is on the field on defensive snaps, half the time he's rushing, because the Patriots really don't get a lot of pressure from their front four. Trey Flowers is their best pass rusher, 7.5 sacks. I mean, please. So they have to bring pressure from elsewhere, and that's why they blitz a lot. And when you're blitzing a lot, they're trying to disrupt Goff. They're trying to disrupt the play action. They're trying to make Goff or the other quarterbacks throw the ball quickly. And Goff and the Rams really depend on these late developing, time-consuming routes to get the ball out, because they really, I don't know if they lead the league, but they're up there in terms of yards per attempt. Goff is, at least, and those crossing routes do take a long time to develop. So they pressured Mahomes 75% of the time they blitzed. So they went after him, and they're going to put a lot of pressure on there. So in terms of stunts, they lead all the teams in the playoffs in terms of stunts. They've run stunts 54% of their defensive snaps versus 28% during the regular season. And off of those stunts, they're generating 58% pressure versus 34% pressure without the stunts. So they're using blitzes, they're using stunts, and stunts is where the linebacker will come in and like a lineman and a linebacker switch roles in a way and kind of try and confuse and disorient the offensive linemen. So, guys are kind of flipping around each other. And so the stunts and the blitzes, just watch the Patriots defensive line and linebackers and see, how often they're sending those guys in. And whether it's a 5-man rush with Hightower on the line. Anyways, enough of that, but you know what I mean. And the way to really neutralize that is to run the ball. And also when you run the ball, you set up the play action. So the play action is, really what a zone does for a defense is they keep everything in front. They keep their heads forward, right? And the problem is when you have a guy like Gurley, and the reason why play action works so well for the Rams, so when you have a guy like Todd Gurley in there, and you're a linebacker, and Jared Goff is going to hand the ball off, and you see Todd Gurley running up, your instinct is Todd Gurley is going to get the ball and run. And I need to be in a position to stop that. Because if you basically stay home and say, hey, this is going to be a play action, I don't believe he's really going to get the ball, but he does get the ball, now you're out of position. So as a linebacker, you have this 50-50, like, do I commit to this run? Is it a run? I don't know. And if you commit and it isn't a run, then you're burned. If you don't commit and it is a run, you're burned. So it's a lot of guesswork on what's a play action and what isn't, and that's what the Rams do. If they had Derek Williams for the Chiefs as the running back and they're running play action, you probably wouldn't bite on that as much because you don't really believe that they're going to run the ball that much with Derek Williams. So the fact that Todd Gurley and CJ Anderson are there really sell it. Now, the Rams have traditionally been in 11 personnel, but recently they mixed it up with 12 personnel. So Belichick's been scouting this 11 personnel all year. And now you're seeing this 12 personnel with an extra tight end in there, with 2 receivers and CJ Anderson or Todd Gurley, and so now you don't know, are the Rams going to go 11% like they did against the Saints? That wasn't quite working. The outside zone wasn't quite working, so then they switched up to 12 personnel, and so now you got to adjust as Bill Belichick and the defense to the 12 personnel, and how do you stop the 12 personnel? So I mean, I can go on all these keys, and Rams got to do this, and Patriots are going to do that, but it really just comes down to game flow. Just pay attention to the game. How many 3 receiver sets will the Rams have compared to 2 receiver sets? That'll tell you how confident they are in their running game and what the defense is giving them. So that's pretty crazy. Now, I think play action Rams are number 1, but the Patriots really are middle of the road to like in the 20s in terms of defending play action. So if the Rams can get that running game going, it opens up the play action, and boom, whoop, there it is. Another thing the Patriots like to do is man coverage. That is their thing. They are like number 1 in the league on man coverage. And so what that does is, for the Rams offense, who like their receivers to get down the field, it delays that a little bit, throws the timing off a little bit. And so to counteract that, the Rams should do a lot of motion, pre-snap motion. They already do that. Do some crossing routes. You can kind of rub guys off that way. But just to let you know, with man coverage, the Patriots run that 54% of the time. They are number 1 in completion rates allowed. So like defensively, they have the best completion rate. They're 3rd in yards per attempt at 6.8, and they're 5th in passer rating allowed at 82%. However, Goff, in terms of going up against man coverage, he has a completion rate of 59%, which is not great, but it's better than what the Patriots allow. So, I mean, that's all right. But interesting, completion rate isn't great, but he averages 9.1 yards per passing attempt, which is like 2.5 yards more than what the Patriots allow. His TD to interception ratio is 10-1. So this against man coverage and press coverage, he's 10-1 TD to interception, and his 104 passer rating compared to the 82% passer rating that the Patriots give up is really, really good. So it doesn't, their strength as man coverage and press coverage really kind of works in the Rams' favor, or it doesn't phase Goff as much. I'm not going to say it won't do anything, but they have pretty solid secondary with Gilmore Gilmore, Stephon, and then McCourty's back there. J.C. Jackson's not bad. So that's going to be interesting to see how they handle that. Or are they going to sit back in a zone and try and keep everything in front of them? I mean, there's all these things and all these tendencies that both teams have had up to this point, but I feel like, I'm giving you kind of like historical playoff data, and I'm sure most of that was like predicated off of the teams they were playing, but we'll see what happens in this game. I don't know. I really don't know, but I do know, run the ball, get play action working, you're set. You're set. Get Todd Gurley those touches, those yards, scrimmage yards, rush yards, put it in the bank. Aaron Donald's 18. The Rams are 18-0 when Aaron Donald has a sack. Just let him get a sack. First play of the game, sack. First drive of the game, 75-yard run. Done. Don't play the rest. We got it. Just go to the halftime show. One last little stat I'll throw in there is red zone. We all know the Rams have been like in the red zone. They're ranked 19th in terms of converting touchdowns, but the Patriots are 24th in red zone defense. So, a little advantage there, I'm hoping. So yeah, that's it. I really feel like, so the last game against the Saints in the Superdome was crazy loud, and the reason why they fell behind so early, they couldn't hear. They had to do silent counts, and I don't know if you've seen the episode of Detail with Peyton Manning on ESPN Plus, I believe. If you get a chance, if you have ESPN Plus, watch it, and he breaks it all down, and he tells you like what the silent count does, and it really takes a lot of energy out of an offense, and it really gives an advantage to the defense because they can really understand the snap count a lot better. You can't do the vocal cadences and things and switch it up. So the Rams really had to deal with that. That was a major factor. It really was. But in the Super Bowl, it's not going to get that loud. It's not going to be that crazy. So the Rams and the Patriots will be on an equal playing field in terms of noise and in terms of doing what they're normal, like accustomed to doing. No one has a real advantage in that regard. But I really love what Jared Goff did in that game. I mean, that ball to Brandon Cooks was great, but also those 2 plays to Higbee on the final drive and in overtime where, he had to turn his body as someone was in his face and throw it to Higbee, and another one where he just threw it off, fading away and getting sacked. Those are big-time plays. Goff came up big time in a big-time hostile environment. And I know this is the Super Bowl. It's a different feel. But Goff is chill, man. And I feel like he's grown up, and I don't think this game is going to really bother him. So don't have any stupid Jared Goff turnovers. Please don't do stupid Jared Goff turnovers. If the Patriots make a good play, I can live with that. Get the time of possession. Run the ball. And, this could be wildcard Gerald Everett, Josh Reynolds week. Wouldn't be surprised to see either one of those guys score a touchdown, if not both. Now, I don't think this is going to be a huge high-scoring game. I know a lot of people have alluded to that. But the Rams haven't had high-scoring games in the last 2 games. They've scored, they scored 30 against the Cowboys and 26 against the Saints. I think they're going to be in the high 20s, maybe low 30s. This is going to be a 27 or 33 game for the Rams, but I do think that they win this by at least a touchdown. I don't think the Patriots have the weapons. They just have to stop the Patriots' run game, and I don't think the passing attack is explosive enough to really get into a battle. And the Chiefs had 2 interceptions against Brady. The Eagle. When people say, "Oh, the Patriots have all this experience," and they do, but they're not unbeatable. The Giants beat them when they had an unbeaten season. The Eagles with Nick Foles beat them. Come on. It's so doable. The Falcons should have beaten them. The Seahawks should have beaten them. Anyways, super stoked. This is probably my longest episode of Rams Talk ever. I hope you guys have made it this far. Thank you everyone for watching this whole entire season. I'm going to have a recap after the game to kind of go over it. Hopefully it'll be a joyful one. I'll crack a beer during that one, hopefully. And for everyone who has been a part of this all season, thank you so much. Let me know in the comments who you think the keys on offense are for the Rams. I'd love to hear that. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. If you want to watch one of my other videos, there it is right there. Bingo. And just be safe tomorrow. If you're in LA, it's supposed to rain, so just be safe. Don't barbecue indoors. Order something. Make a dip. I don't know. But have fun. Love all y'all. Go Rams.